This is Julian, and I'm here in Berlin, Germany, and this week's book is the Kybalion, a study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece. And this book was actually anonymously published under the pseudonym The Three Initiates, and straight up, it's a little fucking out there. Okay, I thought I'd switch things up a bit and introduce a book that's more on the spiritual side of things, and it's a little woo-woo. Okay, it's not the easiest read, but absolutely loved it. Okay, there's a lot to take from it, and the whole philosophy really rests upon these 7 principles. Okay, and what I thought I'd do in this video is list them, explain them, and you're gonna fucking love it. So the first principle is the principle of mentalism. Okay, and this one here is the basic principle of the whole Hermetic philosophy, and that is that the all is mind, the universe is mental. Okay, now what does that mean? The all, okay, the way that it's defined here, is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know as the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, so on and so forth. Okay, there's the saying, under and back of the universe of time, space, and change is ever to be found the substantial reality, the fundamental truth, the all. Okay, so basically, if you look around you, okay, the material universe, everything you see, everything that is people, objects, energy, matter, so on and so forth, you probably noticed, okay, nothing is permanent. Okay, everything's in a constant state of changing and becoming. Okay, things are created, things are born, things grow, things decay, things die, things disappear, so on and so forth. And what it says here is that all of these changing things, okay, everything that is including yourself, must be some kind of outward appearances or manifestations of some underlying power, some substantial reality. And the name that they give this substantial reality here is the all. Okay, it is self-evident, it needs no argument. Okay, and you can compare it to yourself. Okay, assuming you're into spirituality, you probably meditated before. And what did you notice? Okay, there are your thoughts. There's that little voice inside your head. There are your mental images, mental creations, your imagination, different ideas. Okay, but what is there also? The being from which those ideas emerge. Okay, and you can actually take perspective and you can observe them. Okay, that's a lot of meditation. You just sit there, you try to quiet your mind, and if an idea pops up or some little voice, just starts, okay, what about this, what about this, what about this? You can actually be the observer. Okay, and you're like, oh, there's that little voice. Okay, and that little voice, what is it? It's some kind of outward appearance or manifestation of your being, okay, of the observer. Okay, and it's the same here with the universe. Okay, basically, everything that is right now, everything that's changing, everything that exists, is simply outward appearances or manifestations, okay, in this case not of your being, but of the all, okay, which is infinite instead of our being, which is just finite. Okay, that there is the basic understanding of it all, and the reason, okay, it's mental, okay, the universe is mental, is because, okay, what they say about the all here is, one, the all must be all that really is. There can be nothing outside of the all, else the all would not be the all. Okay, that's the first thing to understand. The second one is that the all must be infinite. Okay, and this is key. The all must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict the all. It must be infinite in time or eternal. It must have always continuously existed, for there is nothing else to have ever created it. And something can never evolve from nothing. And if it had ever not been, even for a moment, it would not be now. It must continuously exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and it can never not be, even for a moment, because something can never become nothing. Okay, it is infinite in space. It must be everywhere, for there is no place outside of the all, and it cannot be otherwise than continuous in space without break, separation, or interruption, for there is nothing to break, separate, or interrupt its continuity, and nothing with which to fill in the gaps. Okay, it must be infinite in power or absolute, for there is nothing to limit, restrict, restrain, confine, disturb, or condition it, it is subject to no other power, for there is no other power. Okay, that's the second one. And the third one is, the all must be immutable or not subject to change in its real nature. Okay, for there is nothing to work change upon it, nothing into which it could change, nor from which it could have changed. It cannot be added to nor subtracted from, okay, and this is huge, increased or diminished, nor become greater or lesser in any respect whatsoever. It must have always been and must always remain just what it is now, the all. Okay, and there has never been, is not now, and will never be anything else into which it can change. Okay, now understanding this, okay, and this is why the universe is mental, how does the all create the universe? Okay, the universe, again, is changing. Things are being created, things are growing, but the all can't because it's already part of the all. Okay, so how can the all create? Because if it creates something, in a way, it's creating something that it's not, and the all is everything. Okay, it's also in a way separating from it, and it cannot be subtracted from or added to. So how does it create? Mentally. That's the only way that the all can create while, okay, abiding these three things. So the universe is mental, okay, held in the mind of the all. Okay, and that's really the way to view everything. Okay, it's like the infinite mind of the all is the womb of the universes. Okay, all is mind. And to take this a little further too, what it says here is that there's also the all in all. Okay, so for example, when you're, comparing it to us again, say meditation and the being and the different thoughts, images, so on and so forth, when you're thinking of something, like let's just say you imagine some sort of story with different characters, okay, from the character's perspective, okay, it's like they're just the character, okay, but in a way, they're also part of the all from which it's emerging, but they're not the all, okay, it's a matter of perspective, okay. The character cannot be the all because the all is everything, but there is the all in the character because it's an outward manifestation of the all. Okay, if that makes sense. So there is the all in all of us. And building on this too, okay, it talks about mental transmutation. And this is huge, okay, in the Hermetic philosophy. And that is that mind as well as metals and elements may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. Okay, true Hermetic transmutation is a mental art. Okay, and what that basically means is that if the universe is mental in nature, then this is the art of changing the conditions of the universe along the lines of mental force and mind. The second principle is the principle of correspondence. Okay, and that is as above, so below, as below, so above. Okay, basically, there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being and life. Okay, all of these 7 Hermetic principles are in full operation on all of the many planes. And this here is a truth because all that is included in the universe emanates from the same source. Okay, and this one here, understanding this principle, allows you to solve, many paradoxes or even, hidden secrets of nature. And we actually apply this principle, funny enough, in the first principle. Okay, when we compared the all in the universe to us, our being, and then our finite mental universe of thoughts, ideas, so on and so forth. Okay, here was the same principle. As above, so below. As below, so above. Okay, and this is what allowed us to find out that there is an all. Okay, that there is this underlying power. Okay, and what they say here too in terms of the various planes is that the universe may be divided into 3 classes of phenomena, the 3 great planes, and all are held in the mind of the all. Okay, and at the bottom, there's the great physical plane. Above that, there's the great mental plane, and above that, there's the great spiritual plane. Okay, and as a little side note too, these divisions are more or less artificial and arbitrary. Okay, there's not any real divisions like here's the physical plane, so on and so forth. All of these planes can be, planes can be divided into subplanes, so on and so forth, and they pretty much just melt into each other. Okay, it's like different shades of a color. There's no point where there's like this distinct separation. Okay, this is more so just in terms of understanding the concept. And what it says here too is that the higher the degree of rate of vibration, okay, and we'll talk about this in the next principle where everything vibrates, but basically the higher, okay, the degree of rate of vibration, the higher the plane, and the higher the manifestation of life occupying that plane. Okay, so low vibration, okay, the lowest one is like this gross form of matter, okay, in the physical plane. And as you rise, okay, in terms of your vibration, you go from physical to mental to spiritual. And it talks about here how that there, okay, is like your purpose. It's to keep rising your vibration until you go up to the spiritual, to the point where at the end, okay, there's only this thin little veil between you and the all, and then at some point, you become one with the all. Okay, so that's the second principle. The third principle is the principle of vibration. Okay, and that is that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Okay, and this here, basically everything's in motion, everything around you. These are facts that modern science endorses, okay? And the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely from varying rates of vibration, okay? And this is huge, okay? So all is in vibration, including your thoughts, okay, your emotions, mental states. They all have their corresponding rate and mode of vibration, okay? And the lower the vibration, okay, it's like that's what you want to ideally stay away from. So let's just say you're angry, you're scared, okay? Just emotions, those have lower rates of vibration. And as you raise your vibration, you can go from, say, angry to happy. You can go from fearful to feeling courageous, okay, so on and so forth. And this here, okay, enables the Hermetic students to control their own mental vibrations as well as those of others. Okay, and this is kind of where mental transmutation comes into play, where let's just say you're scared. You're like, oh my God, I'm so scared. Okay, you can actually zone in on the level or degree of vibration and you can rise. Okay, you can just like raise the vibrations and then change, okay, like transmute that feeling to feeling, say, courageous. The fourth principle is the principle of polarity. Okay, and that is that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes can be reconciled. Okay, and what this basically means is that all things manifested have two sides, okay, two poles, and the difference, okay, between things, for example, that seem drastically opposed to each other is merely a matter of degree. Okay, they are identical in nature, but different in degree. Okay, so for example, let's just take hot and cold. Okay, two poles, let's just say. It's like extremely hot and extremely cold. Okay, but in reality, it's the same thing. Okay, hot, cold, it's the same thing, except, okay, it's varying degrees of the same thing. Okay, there's different degrees as you go up from cold to hot. Okay, the same with light and darkness. Okay, there's varying degrees between the two poles. Large, small, hard, soft, black, white, sharp, dull, noise, quiet, high, low, positive, negative, so on and so forth. Okay, and the important thing to understand here with the principle of polarity is that this also applies on the mental plane. Okay, if you take love and hate, for example, they are not different things. They are the same thing, okay, but different degree, okay? The degrees of hate and love with the middle point of like or dislike, okay? And once again, these shade into each other so gradually that sometimes, we're at a loss to even know if it's like or dislike, okay? The same with good and evil. And this here, once again, linking it back to mental transmutation, okay? If you change the vibration, okay, and the way it works is you're just going from one pole to another pole. Okay, you can rise or lower your vibration at will, changing your polarity. Okay, and you can go, for example, from love to hate, or you can go from hate to love. Okay, and this works because it's the same class. Okay, if it's a different class, you can't. Okay, if you're like scared, you can't go to love. Okay, you can go to courage, but not love. It has to be the same class, the same kind of thing, but just varying degrees. Okay, and with the vibration, you can change the degrees. Okay, this is the fourth principle. The fifth one is the principle of rhythm. Okay, and that is that everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Okay, so what does this mean? If you take both poles, okay, of, anything, there is a rhythm that manifests between the two poles established by the principle of polarity. Okay, there is always an action and a reaction, an advance, a retreat, rising and a sinking, expansion, contraction. Okay, so if you take, for example, a moment of happiness, okay, it's like you swing up the pole, you feel extremely happy, but most likely what follows, okay, in a way, a moment of sadness. Okay, at some point, it goes down. Okay, what goes up must come down, and this applies to everything. If you take a universe or a star, it expands and it shrinks. Okay, something is born, it grows, and then it decays and dies. Okay, there's a certain rhythm that happens. Okay, and this manifests in everything, be it universe, suns, worlds, men, mind, energy, matter. There's night and day. Okay, the swing between the two. Summer, winter, creation and destruction, rise and fall. Different mental states, success, as we mentioned before, like successions of moods, feelings. Okay, enthusiasm can be followed by depression, courage succeeded by equal moods of fear. Okay, and there is no such thing as absolute rest. Okay, the universal pendulum is ever in motion. Okay, there is always the rhythmic swing from one pole to another. Okay, now with this, okay, understanding this, people who study the Hermetic philosophy, there is such a thing called the Law of Neutralization, okay, where they're able to escape this. Okay, instead of just being rocked and you're just like, oh my God, I'm going from this state to this state to this state to this state. Basically what it says is that there are two general planes of consciousness, the lower and the higher, and the understanding of which enables you to rise to a higher plane and escape the swing, okay, of the rhythmic pendulum, which manifests on the lower plane. Okay, so you can actually polarize yourself, okay, rise in vibration, and then actually have control. Okay, you go to a higher plane where the swing, okay, it operates at the lower one. It just kind of goes under you. Okay, and what's important to understand here too is that you can't annul this. Okay, all these principles exist whether you like them or not. So it's still going to happen. There's still such a thing as this swing, but okay, instead of annulling it, you can escape its effects. Okay, and you can learn how to use it, for example, instead of being used by it. The next one is the principle of cause and effect. Okay, and what does that mean? Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Okay, so what does that mean? Everything happens to law. Okay, nothing happens by chance. Okay, chance is again merely an expression relating to obscure causes. Okay, causes that we cannot perceive, causes that we cannot understand. But nothing ever happens without a cause or a chain of causes. Okay, so even if you take luck, like say you're throwing a dice, okay, whatever number pops up, you may think, you know what, that's up to luck, but in reality it's not. Okay, it's a cause or a chain of causes. Okay, so for example, it could be the position of the dice, okay, when you pick it up, the amount of muscular energy, expended in the fucking throw. The conditions of the table, so on and so forth. And those link back to other causes and other causes and other causes. Maybe the mental state you're in, how tired you are, which affects the energy. Maybe something happened to the table before. There's all these different causes. There is no such thing as chance, okay? And here it's very important, okay? There's a relation existing between everything that has gone before and everything that follows. No event creates another event, okay, but is merely, instead, a preceding link in the great orderly chain of events flowing from the creative energy from the all. Okay, so everything is a chain of events. You change something way, like years ago, it's going to affect everything, sometimes to huge degrees. What it says here is that the majority of people manifest very little freedom. We think we have free will, but in reality, we're slaves to our environment, the opinions of people, different customs, different thoughts, different emotions, feelings, moods, so on and so forth. You may tell yourself, I do what I want to do, I do as I please, but what you have to ask yourself here is what makes the want to arise? What makes the as I please arise? Okay, and there's always a because, okay? Something affects you, there's a cause, and that's why you do it, okay? You don't really have free will. And here, okay, it's like the master, okay, the student of Hermetic philosophy, can change these pleases and wants basically by will, okay, by mental will. He's able to will instead of to will because of some feeling, mood, emotion, or environmental suggestion. And he does this by rising to a higher plane. Okay, so everything kind of goes hand in hand. It's like you rise in vibration, you rise to a higher plane, okay, where you're able to dominate your own mood. Okay, you change the vibration, you change your mood, and you're the one who's having direct control versus something or someone else. Okay, and this is very important. If you don't proactively, consciously do this, you are going to be reacting. You will not have any free will. And by doing this, okay, instead of being a pawn, you become a mover, okay? And as I mentioned with the previous principle, you can't get rid of this principle, okay? It's going to happen no matter what. There's always cause and effect, but you can, again, go to that higher plane and help rule on the lower plane instead of being ruled down there, okay? And the last principle here is the principle of gender, and that is that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes, okay? And when you hear gender, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean sex, okay? In a way, sex is just a manifestation of gender on the physical plane. But gender, what it refers to here is to procreate, to generate, to create, to produce, okay? It's a lot more of a broad term. And there is gender manifested in everything. Okay, everything and every person contains the two elements within it, him or her. And the way it works here, okay, is that the masculine principle, okay, oftentimes associated with the positive principle, okay, if you take, for example, a magnet, there's positive, negative, okay, different polarity. The masculine principle directs a certain inherent energy toward the feminine principle and thus starting the activity of the creative process. Okay, that's the masculine principle, and the feminine principle is always the one doing the active creative work, okay, on all planes, but each principle is incapable of operative energy without the assistance of the other. Okay, and this is very interesting, and from this comes the dual mind idea, okay, where there's the masculine principle of mind, for example, the objective mind, the voluntary mind, the active mind, and then there's the feminine principle of mind, and that is the subjective mind, the unconscious mind, the involuntary mind, the passive mind. Okay, masculine, let's just say conscious mind, feminine, subconscious mind. And when you think I am, okay, this in reality can be split into two parts, okay, two aspects. And both aspects are working in unison, okay, although they're separated. Okay, there's the masculine, the feminine. Okay, there's the gender. There exists an I and a me, okay? And the me is usually mistaken for the I, okay? So what does that mean? As a person, when you think of yourself, on a lower level, we think that we're composed of certain things, feelings, tastes, likes, dislikes, habits, characteristics, our body, our physical appearance, sometimes even our fucking clothes, okay? That's like the lower level, and we're like, this is me, okay? All this is me. And as you rise, okay, on a higher plane, you start disidentifying with that, okay, like all these external physical things. And in the middle, you're left with, say, different thoughts, different emotions, and you think that is you. But then you rise, okay, above that, and you're more than just different mental states, emotions, feelings, qualities, or characteristics, okay? And at the top, Okay, it's like me becomes a something mental in which thoughts, ideas, emotions, feelings may be produced. Okay, and we can link this once again with the principle of correspondence to the all. Okay, remember, it's like the all is like the womb in which the universe is created, if you will, in which everything is manifested. The me, okay, is what I talked about before in terms of the being, let's just say. Okay, here it's like the me. The me is the mental womb capable of generating mental offspring. Okay? However, what you also find is that there also exists a mental something which is able to will that the me act along certain creative lines, and which is also able to stand aside and witness the mental creation. Okay, the I. So there's the me, which is the womb, and then the I, okay, the masculine principle, if you will, with will can project certain energy so that different things are created, let's just say, in different ways, and can witness it. Okay, so it goes a little deep here, but there are those two aspects. And once again, the I is the masculine principle, the aspect of being. The me is the feminine principle, the aspect of becoming. Okay? And if you're too lazy to act, if you're too lazy to take conscious control, to exert that will, okay, let's just say to rise in vibration, for example, someone else will do it for you. Okay? And what it says here is that too few people have original thoughts or original actions that are performed. They're just mere shadows and echoes of others with stronger will. Okay? And masters of the Hermetic teaching dominate their own minds by their will and the minds of others. So these here are the 7 Hermetic principles. To know more about them, check the fucking book out. But I absolutely loved it. Okay? And this way of thinking, especially in terms of raising your vibration, is something that's been on my mind for quite some time, okay, especially after this year's chain of events. I made a video too with Owen. Okay, I'd recommend checking out. I'll put a little link here below on progression versus degeneration. Get on that, and be sure to check the comments here below for next week's book. Until next time.